Okay, next we will continue with the consumer fraud. Consumer fraud is any fraud that targets individuals as victims. As a consumer, you should never give your personal information, such as credit card or driver license number, to someone who contact you. It is probably okay to provide personal information when you initiate the call or transaction, but even then, you should exercise extreme care. Armed with your personal information, fraudsters pretending to be you can ruin your credit, obligate you for large debts, and create tremendous headache for you as you try to convince law enforcement and others that it really wasn't you who entered into those transactions. Basically, there are many types of consumer fraud. However, there are two primary types of consumer fraud that we will discuss further. The first one is identity theft, which refer to the most common type of consumer fraud that will affect thousands of people every day. The second one is consumer scam, which refer to the fraudster that they will use various schemes to earn consumers' confidence, and then they use that confidence to get the consumer to pay or invest money or to provide any personal information. Consumer fraud is a very serious problem in the world. The United States Federal Trade Commission released a statistical survey in April 2013. Over 25 million adults, they are 10.8% of the adult populations, were victims of fraud during 2011. There are 17% of African Americans that be the victims of the consumer frauds. Next, there are 13.4% of Hispanic were victims, and the rate of 9% of non-Hispanic whites were the victims of consumer fraud. This is the numbers of victims in the top 5 consumer frauds. The first one refer to the fraudulent weight loss products that promise to allow one to lose weight without diet or any exercise, but then did not deliver on the promises. This fraud estimated to affect over 5.1 million Americans in 2011. The second one is referred to the price promotion with estimate 2.4 million victims. This fraud involved consumers who paid something or attend a presentation to receive a promised price, but then, when delivered, that was not as promised. The third one were the billings for buyers club memberships and for internet service, each with an estimated 1.9 million victims who were billed for this service without any authorizing for the billing. Last but not least, it refers to the work at home programs and business opportunities that generally fail to deliver at least one half of the promised level of earnings. Next, we will move to the identity theft. Identity theft is used to describe those circumstances when someone uses another person's name, address, social security number, bank or credit card account number, or other identifying information to commit fraud or other types of crimes. As we can see here, this is the identity theft cycle. So basically, there are three stages of this identity theft cycle. Stage 1 refer to the discovery, the second stage refer to the action, and the last one is trial. Perpetrators of identity theft will follow a common pattern after they have stolen a victim's identity. So by having this identity theft cycle, this will help us to understand more on the process of identity theft occurs. The first stage refers to the discovery, which will involve two phases. The first one is gaining information phase, where the fraudster will do all they can to gather a victim's information. Example of discovery techniques include such information gathering technique as searching trash, stealing mail, phishing, and scanning credit card information. The next phase refers to the information verification phase, where the fraudsters will use various means to verify the information that they already have. The fraudster will do telephone scam, where the perpetrators call the victims and act as a representative of a business to verify the information that they already have. And they will also do the trash searches when another means was used to gather the original information. The action stage is the second phase of the identity theft cycles. It involves two activities, which are accumulating documentations and devising cover-up or concealment actions. Accumulating documentations refer to the process when perpetrators use to obtain needed tools to defraud the victims. For example, using the information they already obtained, perpetrators may apply for a bogus credit card, fake checks, or driver license in the victim's name. The second activities are cover up or concealment actions, which involve any steps that are taken to hide or cover the financial footprints that are left through the identity theft process. For example, in this stage, a fraudster might change the physical address or email of the victim so that the credit card statements are sent by the financial institution to the perpetrators rather than the victims. The last stage refers to the trial stage, which involve those activities of the identity theft that provide perpetrators with financial benefits. There are three phases of the trial stage: first dimensional actions, second dimensional actions, and third dimensional actions. The first dimensional actions are the first frauds committed mostly to test the effectiveness of fraud schemes and the stolen information. For example, like a fraudster might go to a gas station and use a stolen credit card to determine if the card really works. If the card works, the fraudster gains confidence in the theft and move to the bigger scam. However, if the card does not work, the fraudster faces no immediate threat of consequences and can quickly discard the card without any consequences. The second dimensional actions are actions taken by a fraudster once initial trials have been successful. These actions often involve face-to-face interactions with others. For example, if the card used at the gas station was successful, the fraudster may try using it to purchase bigger items. The perpetrators may go to a mall and buy clothing, stereo equipment, or other large ticket items. The third dimensional actions are those actions that provide significant benefit to the perpetrator and occur after the perpetrator has considerable confidence in identity theft. For example, a fraudster may establish auto loan or engage in other significant transactions. Next, we will see on how fraudsters convert personal information to financial gain. Once fraudsters have accessed personal information, they will use the information to their financial benefit. So some of the common purchases may be identity theft perpetrators are as follows. So the first one, the perpetrators may buy large ticket items such as computer, television. So by using this fake credit or debit card, a fraudster will often buy items that are quite expensive, and also this item can easily be sold. The next one is the perpetrators may take out car, home, or other loans. This is when the fraudster has the confidence that the identity theft um, is work is working. So he or she often takes out a loans using the victim's identity. So basically the most common types of fraudulent loan is for the hire purchase for the automobile. This is because automobile can easily be traced using the license plates or vehicle identification number. So the car is usually quickly sold so that it cannot be traced by the fraudsters. The next one is the perpetrators may establish phone or wireless service by using the victim's name. So fraudsters often set up a phone or wireless service in the victim's name. This is done so that the perpetrators can more easily convince bank, business, and other that he or she is the person that he claimed to be. So, fraudsters also use telephone as a form of communication to buy or sell drugs and also to gain information to steal more identities, okay, begins telemarketing schemes or support other fraud schemes. Next, perpetrators may using counterfeit checks or debit card. So by using debit card or counterfeit checks, fraudsters often drain victims' bank account. So one of the biggest risks of debit card is their lack of insurance to cover the fraudulent transactions. So this makes it extremely important that consumers only have reasonable amount of cash in their checking or debit account. That way, if a fraudster drain a victim's checking account, the loss will be minimal. Next, the perpetrators may open a new bank account. So fraudster will often use victims' personal information to open a new bank account, and they will write the checks that will not only cause problems such as non-sufficient fine, but also in the process they will destroy the person's name and credit. Next, the perpetrators may filing for bankruptcy under the victim's name. Fraudsters sometimes file for bankruptcy under a victim's name. Such filing keeps victims from not knowing that their identity has been stolen. In the process, the victim's credit report and reputation are damaged, a problem that will take many years to repair it. Next, the perpetrators may report the victim's name to the police. This because fraudsters have been known to use the victim's name and identity to keep their own record from being blemished. Furthermore, if a perpetrator has a criminal record, he or she might use a victim's name to purchase gun or other difficult to obtain items. Next, the fraudsters may open new credit card account. So by using this will enable the fraudster to spend money in a victim's name with no immediate consequences. This is one of the easiest way for the perpetrators to defraud a victim once his or her identity has been stolen. Okay, and the last one, the perpetrators may change the victim mailing's address. The fraudsters often change the mailing address on a victim's credit card account. This is to prevent the victim from knowing that there are a problem and enables the fraudster to continue using the credit card and identity. Stealing a victim's identity is not as difficult as it may be seen. Fraudsters can obtain the information required to commit identity theft in several ways. The United States Department of Justice website lists some of the following methods as common ways for one identity to be stolen. The first one refer to the shoulder surfing, where the fraudster watch or listen to someone enter a credit card number. The second one is dumpster diving, when the fraudster rummage through consumer trash. Once a garbage container is in the street, it is considered public property and anyone can rummage through it. Pre-approved credit card application, tax information, receipts containing credit card numbers, social security receipt or financial record are valuable sources of information for the identity thieves. The next one is skimming. Skimming is a process where fraudsters use an information storage device to gain access to valuable information when a credit card is processed. Next, the perpetrators may gather information from business. Perpetrators will steal information from their employer, hacking into organizations' computers, or bribing an employee who has access to confidential records. Next, the perpetrators may steal the wallets or purse to gain confidential information or identifications. This is because valuable information is contained in almost every wallet. The other ways is the perpetrators may sneak into a victim's home and steal the information. And they also will stealing mail, including bank information, checks, credit card information, tax informations, or pre-approved credit cards. Last but not least, the perpetrators may use phishing, which by using the internet to steal important information. So this often occurs by phishing, high-tech scams that use spams or pop-up messages to deceive consumers into disclosing credit card number, bank account information, password or other sensitive information. Phishers, who is a fraud perpetrators who using phishing, they will send email or pop-up messages claiming to be from legitimate business or organization that consumer deal with. For example, like internet service provider, banks, online payment services. So this message will usually say that the victim need to update or validate his own account. So this message then direct the victims to a website that looks like a legitimate website. The purpose of this site is to trick the victim into divulging personal information. So there are many ways to minimize the identity theft risk. The first one is they can guide your mail from theft. So this happened in United States when a person is away from home, they can use the service by United States Postal Service to hold their personal mail. The second one is opt out of pre-approved credit cards. One common and easy way for a fraudster to commit identity theft is to simply fill out the pre-approved credit card application consumers receive via the mail and send them in. The third one is check the personal credit information at least annually. The credit card report includes information on where the person lives, how the person pay the bills, and whether the person have been sued, arrested, or filed for bankruptcy. Next is by protect the social security card. So an individual social security card is valuable information for any fraudster. With knowledge of someone's SSN, fraudster can open all types of new account in the victim's name. Therefore, consumers should always keep their SSN in a safe place. The next ways to minimize the risk is safeguard personal information. Safeguarding personal information is very important for every individual. Consumers who have roommates employed outside have to clean or perform other domestic services or have outside people in their house for any reason need to be particularly careful. The next one is guard trash from theft. Consumers need to tear or shred receipt, insurance information, credit applications, doctor bills, checks, and bank statements, old credit cards, and any credits offer they receive in the mail, as well as any other source of personal information. The other ways is protect wallet and other valuable. Consumers should carry their wallet in their front pocket and never leave it in their car or any place where it can be stolen. It is important for consumers to always be aware of where their wallet is and what the content are. Individuals should only carry identification information and credit and debit cards that are regularly used in their wallet. Besides that, consumers should limit themselves to only 2 or 3 credit cards and keep the 24-hour emergency telephone number of all credit cards they possess in their cell phone's address books. Another way is to use the strong password. Individuals should use passwords on credit card, bank and telephone account that are not easily determinable or available. Consumers should avoid using information that can be easily associated with them, such as their birthday, their mother's maiden name, their spouse name, and the last four digits of their telephone number. Last but not least, the individuals need to protect their homes and computers. So consumers should protect their house from fraud perpetrators. This is because some frauds have been known to break into a home and not steal a single physical object. The victims may not even know someone has been inside their home. This is because the perpetrator will steal all information that is needed to easily commit identity theft and then leave. In terms of computer, remember that legitimate companies rarely ask for confidential information via email. If an individual has questions about his or her account, the person should call the company using a phone number he or she know is legitimate. If consumer get an email or pop-up message that asks for personal or financial information, they should not reply or click on the link in the message. Next is prosecutions of identity theft. When people commit identity theft, they can now be prosecuted criminally or civilly. To succeed in the prosecution, it is usually necessary to show that the perpetrator acted with the intent to defraud the victim. This is best accomplished by gathering appropriate evidence matter. Appropriate evidence matter consists of the underlying data and all corroborating information available. So this process will usually easy to prove if the evidence of the fake identity used to purchase an items, open an account, or obtain a credit card is collected. Next, if the person is facing with the identity theft occurs, so the victims should take action to minimize the identity theft. What the victim should do is they can contact the Federal Trade Commissions, contact local FBI or US Secret Service Agency, contact the local postal inspection service, contact the Internal Revenue Service, contact the Social Security Administrations, contact the Credit Reporting Agency, contact personal financial institutions and change their personal identification information. Next, we will discuss on the second primary types of consumer frauds, which is other types of consumers and investment scams. The first type of scam is foreign advance fee scam. Foreign advance fee scams have been around for years. However, with the advance of the internet, they have recently become much more widespread and common. Unfortunately, many individuals have become victims to this form of consumer fraud. Nigerian money offers is one of the foreign advance fee scam where individuals from Nigeria or another country contacts victims through email, fax or develop telephones and offer the victims millions of dollars. The catch is that in order to transfer the victim these monies, it is necessary to provide name and bank account numbers. It is include routing numbers and so on, so the money can be transferred. The fraudster then use this information to drain the victim's account and commit other types of frauds. Another foreign advance fee scam is a clearinghouse scam. A clearinghouse scam involves a victim receiving a letter that falsely claims that the writer represents a foreign bank. This foreign bank is supposedly acting as a clearinghouse for venture capital in a certain country. The fraudulent company will try to get victims to invest in the foreign venture capital companies for high return. This is to give the impression that they are legitimate. The perpetrators will set up bank accounts in the United States. When the victims transfer money into the domestic account, the perpetrators quickly transfer the money overseas where it will be never seen again. Another type of foreign advance fee scam is the purchase real estate scheme. This scam usually takes the form of someone trying to sell a piece of real estate or other property to the victim. Perpetrators will see advertisement for land being sold and then send possible victim letters offering to purchase the property on behalf of a foreign concern. The victims are defrauded when they agree to pay upfront fees to a special broker. Once paid, the victim will never hear from the perpetrator again. Next is sale of crude oil at below market price. In this scam, the victims receive an offer to purchase crude oil at a price well below market price. However, in order to receive this below market price, it is necessary to pay special registrations and license fees. Once the victim pays these fees, the sellers will disappear. Finally, the disbursement of money from will is a foreign advance fee scam that is becoming more popular. In this scam, perpetrators sends a letter from a mysterious benefactor interested in contributing a large sum of money. However, to get the money, the recipient is required to pay inheritance taxes or government fees. Once these tax and fees are paid, the victims are unable to contact the benefactor. So basically, all of these schemes have common elements. They all come from an unknown party who claims that they have access to large sum of money or asset. The perpetrators are always willing to transfer that money or other asset to the victims, but only after the money or information is obtained from the victims. The perpetrators are not well-known business and there is usually some urgency to participate. The second types of scam is work at home schemes. So work at home scheme is divided by three, which are multi-level marketing, pyramid scheme, chain letter, mail stuffing, product testing, and craft assembly. For the multi-level marketing, refer to the individual who are independent distributor of a legitimate business. So in order to increase the distributor process, representative of this organization will recruit friends, family members and others to join them in selling the product. Generally, distributors make money both on what they sell personally and on the sale of those they recruited. So one of the most common work at home scheme is the fraudulent manipulations of legitimate multi-level marketing organizations. While there are many variations of fraudulent MLM, one kind of fraudulent multi-level marketing organizations is also called as a pyramids or Ponzi schemes. These schemes refer to the instead of selling real legitimate products, they have only illusionary products and profit. Ponzi schemes tend to focus their efforts on recruiting of new members instead of selling legitimate products. In the beginning of a pyramid scheme, the investment of subsequent investors are used to pay promised returns to earlier investors. This seems real returns exceed early investors who then spread the good news about the investment to their friends and relations. Sooner or later, however, the scheme either becomes too big and too exposed, and as a result, subsequent investors dry up, or the perpetrators disappears with the asset. With no new money to make the scheme look like it is working, the entire organization usually collapses, leaving only a few people at the top of the pyramid that have actually made money. Those who at the bottom will always lose their investment. The next one is chain letter scam that usually begin with a gullible consumers that sees an advertisement stating something like by looking at the charts and see the person will automatically receive thousands of dollars in return. However, the only people who benefit from change later are the mysterious few at the top of the chain who constantly change name, address, and post office box. Next, mail stuffing is a scam where the consumer responds to an advertisement that promises income simply for stuffing envelopes. When answering such advertisement, consumers don't receive envelope for stuffing, but instead get promotional material asking for cash in exchange for details on money-making plans. The system feeds on continuous recruitment of people to offer the same plan. There are several variations on this type of scheme, all of which require the customer to spend money on advertising and material. Product testing is a fraud that typically begins when consumers receive brochures featuring different products. The product usually requests that consumer review the product presented and send their commentaries to the supplier for review. The brochure promised that the participant, in addition to payments for services rendered, will be able to keep the products reviewed. This is usually some sort of enrollment fee ranging from $10 to $25. Usually, those who respond to this advertisement never receive any information after the fees are paid. Lastly, craft assembly is also a scam where perpetrators promise high pay for working on different projects. These projects can include anything from wooden calendars to paper towel holders to hair clips and even holiday decorations. Victims are usually required to purchase costly materials, equipment, and training. The victims are usually required to sign a contract that obligates the victims to purchase more materials and equipment than is needed. Normally, the perpetrators will promise to pay the investor for the goods she produced, but at the end, the perpetrators will almost refuse to pay the investor for the work rendered. Another types of scam is bogus mystery shopping scam. So fraudsters take advantage of many consumers through a scheme known as bogus mystery shopping scam. During this bogus scam, perpetrators promise victims a job that involves strolling through store, enjoy the displays, shopping for merchandise, and then feelings report on the experiences they had. Fraud Fraudsters promise victims compensation range from $10 to $14 per hour, plus the opportunity to keep all products evaluated. Although some mystery shopper advertisements are legitimate, the majority are not. Usually, victims are conned out of application charge. The other scams is telemarketing frauds. Fraudsters set up giant rooms in rented office where they train salespeople to find and defraud victims. These professional fraudsters move from city to city using different names, calling people in other cities and states in an effort to hinder law enforcement. New recruits are given scripts like the one above and receive specialized training to counter every possible objection. This recruit hawks victims through promises of no risk investment, secret tips, and incredible rates of return. They are unwary investors lose more than 1 million every hour to the investment fraud promoted over the telephone. The next one is regarding safeguards against telemarketing fraud. This is never a legitimate reason to give social security, credit cards, or other information over the telephone unless you initiate the call. If anyone ever asks for social security number or personal information, you should send a red flag that something is not right. Fraudsters sometimes even act as an government officials or other representative to get these informations. Consumers should only provide these informations when they are actually purchasing something and have initiated the transactions. Make